Welcome, exhausted parents. If you're watching this, chances are you are literally running on fumes. So today we're diving straight into the ultimate explainer on baby sleep training. We've pulled together incredible insights from top expert sources, including developmental guides like OII Crew, which is known internationally as the Wonder Weeks, alongside certified sleep coaches. We're going to cut through all that noise out there and help you find peace, predictability, and honestly, most importantly, some actual rest. So let's just dive right in.
First off, let's just validate exactly where you are right now. You are exhausted from waking up multiple times a night. You're desperately trying to follow all these routines, but your baby simply won't sleep through. And honestly, to make matters worse, when you turn to the internet at 3 a.m. in desperation, the sheer volume of conflicting advice is just entirely overwhelming, right? Like one expert says you have to be super strict, while another says you must absolutely never leave their side. It's enough to make anyone's head spin. But don't worry, we're going to clear all of that up today with a very clear, step-by-step path forward.
In this explainer, we are going to cover what exactly is sleep training, when can you start, which method actually fits you, a very practical 6-month sleep schedule, and finally, what to do when things just don't work out.
Okay, Section 1. What exactly is sleep training? Before we even talk about methods or schedules, we really need to strip away the stigma here. For a lot of people, the term sleep training has this negative, almost clinical association. So let's fix that right now. According to our sources, sleep training simply means lovingly helping your baby learn to fall asleep and stay asleep independently. That is it. The goal is absolutely not strictness. The goal is structure, predictability, and peace. It's really about creating a safe environment where your child can learn a brand new skill. Because believe it or not, falling asleep independently is indeed a skill.
Moving on to Section 2, when can you start?
Timing is a massive source of anxiety for parents. You don't want to start too early, but you definitely don't want to wire in bad habits by waiting too long. Well, experts provide a really clear readiness checklist for this. First, your baby should be 4 to 6 months or older. Second, they need to already show a basic sleep and wake rhythm. Third, they must be healthy and growing well. And fourth, and honestly, this is absolutely crucial, you as a parent need to actually feel ready to start. While you technically can start laying down these good habits at 4 months, sleep coaches really emphasize that waiting until 6 months is highly beneficial. Why? Because earlier than that, a baby's brain often just lacks the physical and mental capacity to self-regulate and self-soothe.
And you know, this brilliantly illustrates why month 4 can be such a huge trap. You really need to be aware of Leap 4 and the infamous 4-month sleep regression. Around this specific time, your baby's brain is undergoing a massive mental development, a leap as they call it. Their sleep cycles are physically maturing and changing, which very often leads to them waking up constantly. Our sources highly recommend that you do not force sleep training during this highly turbulent period. It's perfectly normal biology. So just pause, wait for the storm to pass, and resume when they've actually completed this developmental leap.
Section 3. Which method fits you?
So let's objectively examine the contrasting philosophies out there. And please keep in mind, there is no perfect way, there's only the way that fits your unique family. On one side, we have the Ferber method, which is the interval approach. This involves putting your baby to bed drowsy, but actually awake. And if they cry, you wait for gradually increasing intervals of time before going in to comfort them, and usually you do this without picking them up. The whole idea here is that they learn they're safe and they don't need immediate rescue for every little noise. Now, on the flip side, we have the no tears or gentle approach. With this one, comforting is not seen as an interruption to the process. You react immediately to your baby's signals, offering a continuous presence, like maybe a hand on the belly or some soft singing, and you slowly phase out your help over time. It requires a whole lot of patience for sure, but it feels incredibly safe for a lot of parents.
Now, if you are feeling at all guilty about leaning toward an interval method, I really want you to hear this striking insight from healthcare psychologist Chantal Krohn, which comes to us via Burrow von Slop. She says, and I quote, "It is very context-dependent. A mother with postpartum depression due to sleep deprivation is more harmful than letting your child cry for 3 days." So what does this actually mean? It means maternal mental health matters immensely. For some families, a few nights of controlled crying is a totally legitimate, healthy choice for the overall survival and well-being of the entire family unit. We are not taking sides here at all. We just want to empower you to choose what keeps your family healthy.
But you know, regardless of the philosophy you end up choosing, there is one universal truth agreed upon by literally all sleep experts, and that is the bedtime routine. A consistent 5-step routine, something like bath, pajamas, feed, a song or maybe a book, and then bed, is universally recommended. Doing this in the exact same order every single night clearly signals to your baby's brain that the day is officially over and it's time to rest.
When it comes to baby sleep, predictability is absolutely your best friend.
Section 4. The 6-month sleep schedule.
Let's transition from the theory into some practical application here. The magic number for a 6-month-old is roughly 15 hours of total sleep per 24-hour cycle. Experts break this down into about 12 hours of uninterrupted or at least mostly uninterrupted sleep at night, and then 3 hours of sleep spread out during the day. Between all these sleeps, your baby has what we call wake windows, which is just the time they can comfortably stay awake without getting totally overstimulated. At 6 months old, these windows are about 2.5 hours long.
So what does that look like? According to the experts at Slap Tips for Babies, a structured day typically kicks off at 7 a.m. After about 2 hours and 15 minutes of wake time, nap 1 happens at 9:15. Then, nap 2 hits right around 12:15 p.m. Then comes the really tricky part, the 4:45 p.m. power nap. Experts note that this late afternoon nap can be a real struggle to get them down for, but at 6 months, most babies absolutely still need it just to bridge that gap to bedtime. And finally, at 7 p.m., the lights go out. Mapping your day out exactly like this gives you an incredible sense of predictability and control over your daily routine.
And finally, Section 5. When things don't work out.
Look, babies aren't robots, so it actually happens when you follow the schedule perfectly, you've picked a method, and your baby still just will not sleep. Well, you might be facing some common sleep disruptors, things like sleep regressions, mental leaps, sudden separation anxiety, teething, or simply them having too much or too little stimulation during the day. The absolute most crucial takeaway here is that setbacks are normal. If your baby suddenly starts waking up again, it doesn't mean your sleep training failed, and it certainly doesn't mean you're a bad parent. These are just normal biological functions. When they hit, give yourself some grace, offer some extra comfort, and just resume your routine when that developmental storm has finally passed.
So, we've covered the biology, the methods, and the schedules. You now have a very clear, expert-backed roadmap right out of the exhaustion. So I'm going to leave you with this question to think about tonight. Will you choose the structured path of intervals or the steady presence of gentle methods to give your family the gift of sleep? Remember, there is absolutely no wrong answer here, only the one that brings peace to your home. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I sincerely wish you and your family a very, very good night's rest.